Hello and welcome back. I'm Sai. We are continuing the adventures of Sir Brante. If you watched the last episode, you know that we got kicked in the butt by our previous choices to marry of Gloria. And I think that was the main point of our downfall. But it's not all lost. We could salvage it if we could achieve Cassius being overthrown, which needs a bit more tolerance of fates. I think one more point and we could possibly do that. I'm nervous, but hopefully things will turn out right and we won't have to restart the chapter. Anyway, let's move on. Also, our mom died. Just in case you guys forgot. So our mom died. Gloria is now married to a noble family. That's where we are at. Let's continue. The denunciation. The Inquisition ward that has become your second home now feels jarringly different. Jeanne is sitting on a crude bench, all hunched over, her face in her hands. You stand by her side, still unable to believe that this is really happening. Look, these are our case files. Retribution is inevitable. We will face the tribunal tomorrow. Without lifting her eyes, she hands you a couple of pages. Witnessed with one's own eyes as Inquisitor Brante and his sister in fate, Jeanne, indulged in debauchery beneath the canopy of the sacred silver tree. Oh. It is a denunciation. Someone saw you that night under the silver tree. Patriarch Cassius insisted on attending the hearing, and Ulrich will pass judgment. Her eyes are full of angry tears. You reach out to touch her shoulder reassuringly, but Jeanne moves away. She breathes deeply and pulls herself together. Answer him honestly. The younger will be watching over us. Lying is out of question. Should you acknowledge your guilt? Or is there a way to escape punishment? Well, we can only tell the truth because we don't have the eloquence and we are not close to Jeanne. You call the accusation false and insist that someone is trying to slander you, or ask Archduke Milandas for help. Because we are branded by dishonor and we don't have a grateful relationship with the Archduke, it is not possible. Well, I don't think in that situation back then we could have avoided doing the whole thing, right? I think the game kind of forced us, the story forced us to, lay with her. Okay, tell the truth. You confess everything that happened between you under the silver tree. There are only a handful of people in the courtroom. They are all priests from various Anisot churches. You stand before Patriarch Cassius and Inquisitor Ulrich. The Inquisitor's gaze is full of disappointment. The Patriarch, on the contrary, has a triumphant smile on his face. The image of the younger gazes at you sternly from the icon behind them. Let the tribunal begin. This shouldn't take long. Brother Bronto and Sister Jeanne, you stand accused of engaging in a depraved carnal liaison with one another. Under the silver tree, no less. What sacrilege! The priests exchange whispers. You feel the blood pounding in your temples. It is so, Patriarch. Still, this denunciation might well be an attempt to tarnish our order and nothing more. A slander concocted by someone who harbors a grudge against the Inquisition. Brother Bronto, beneath the gaze of the younger, tell us, your brethren and mentors in faith, what really happened? It is hard to keep calm. Imagine that they are not here. Ulrich, Cassius, the other priests, not even Jeanne is here. You look into the face of the younger and start relating everything to him, the whole truth. As bitter as your shame is, you are indeed guilty and penance must be done. Yes, you sinned. You yielded to the feelings that overcame you. You deeply regret the incident, but it was the will of the twins that led you to it. and neither you nor Jean could resist it beneath the silver tree. It happened but once. It never happened again, and it could never happen again. The room is silent. Cassius watches you intently, then lowers his gaze, concealing a grin. Inquisitor Ulrich's nostrils flare angrily. "What about you, Sister Jeanne? What do you have to say?" Jeanne also speaks only to the image of the younger. She stands tall, very strained, her voice completely devoid of emotion. "It happened just as Inquisitor Brante said. I have nothing to add to this statement. I assume we will have to accept our punishment for this misdeed." "We have heard enough. Inquisitor Ulrich, what sentence would be sufficient for these sinners?" "Just don't tell a lesser death." Ulrich remains silent for a moment. "In the name of the younger, I assign you the following penance. You will be imprisoned. You will each spend 3 months in solitary prayer. Your only companions will be the twins." The Patriarch nods approvingly. You leave the courtroom feeling exhausted. The sacred conclave is right around the corner. Do you think Patriarch Cassius could be the one behind this denunciation? Does it matter? The younger's retribution is inevitable. It makes no difference who carries out the punishment. Oh, we are falling again. Seems like we have one more year. Year 1145, a storm on the horizon. For over a year now, Anisote has been steadily simmering with unrest, like a soup pot over a well-stoked flame. Commoners flock to the squares in droves. The mobs grow bolder, demanding new freedoms and protection under the law. The last-row insurgents commit brazen acts, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The noble gentry insisted that every mob be dispersed by force. They are ready to fight for their ancient privilege, sword in hand. In spite of this enormous pressure, Overseer Gaius Tempest, it's Gaius by the way, Gaius Tempest remains highly reluctant to allow any bloodshed. But the common people are already too desperate. Even the age-old fear of the nobility's might is barely enough to keep them in check. More and more people are rejecting the lots and converting to the new faith, not to mention other stranger, more esoteric teachings and beliefs. New secret societies and clandestine gatherings appear every day. Printed pamphlets litter the streets, yet no one is rushing to subdue the citizens or punish the city, for now. Father Leonard has transformed the Temple of the Silver Tree into a new believer stronghold. He is no longer afraid to break the ban on preaching the new faith. His sermons now openly challenge the old faith. It seems the Church of the Twins is unable to recognize its great mistake. The lots must be abandoned as relics of the past. The Twins granted everyone the freedom to choose their own path in this world, and I will not stop until this freedom is recognized throughout the Empire. The next Patriarch of Magra must be chosen by the parish, not the clergy. This is the will of the Twins, and it must be ours as well. Leonard intends to amend the old order of the Church and become Patriarch. His opponents, however, are beset by internal struggle and strife. The Inquisition is fighting a myriad of heresies, more of which appear every day. Not even the highest ranks of the faith are free from suspicion. The new faith, meanwhile, is steadily growing in numbers. People no longer fear being damned to the foot of the pillar for rejecting the divine design. The streets are restless and dangerous. Minds and souls are beset by confusion. The authorities argue and bicker among themselves. Conspiracies plague the city. Time marches on and the change is coming. It cannot be stopped. Can you find a way to guide it in the right direction? The weight of a new age now rests upon your shoulders. Oh. Okay. We are pushing towards the new faith. A family matter. For over a year now, Anisote has been slowly simmering with unrest. The feud between the estates, between the old faith and the new, between the law of the empire and the noble traditions. Tensions are at an all-time high, waiting for the slightest spark to catch fire and burn. Even your family's affairs have been affected by the growing unrest. It is during these troubled times that the future of your family will be decided. Father shakes you awake early in the morning. He is excited, clutching a letter bearing the imperial seal of the Tempest dynasty. "Wake up, son. Come to the sitting room. A letter has come from Overseer Gaius Tempest." He gingerly breaks the seal and unfolds the missive. "To the Honorable Brante family, I, Gaius of the Tempest dynasty, Overseer of the province of Magra, have given due consideration to your petition to have your bloodline ennobled by the sword. You are expected in 1 week at Castle Enery, as are all petitioners for the sword, where you shall hear my decision firsthand." After finishing the letter, Father turns to you. He looks fatigued. "Well, son, it's time for us to be honest with each other about our family. What do you have to say about this? Where do we, the Brantes, stand after so many years? What hopes do we have for the future of this family?" The past 7 years have been marked by many life-changing events. The rare joys, the frequent fights, the arguments, the attempts at peace, the losses. Sometimes you have managed to change their minds and sometimes you have not. But your decisions have made you realize what matters most to you. The future of the Brante family must be decided here and now. Well, the saddest choice. Well, not really, but... Seeing these options, I'm not even going to go through all of them. We preserve the family. Look, the family path is... I'm just disappointed by the earlier choices that made Mother die and also Gloria leave us. Now it doesn't really matter. You reluctantly confess to Father what both of you already know. It is clear what Gaius Tempest's decision will be. Your family's hopes of being ennobled by the sword are long gone. You had to maintain your family's reputation and fortune and peace at home. It all proved too much to handle. After expending too much energy resolving the strife within your family, you had little strength left for the rest. With a sigh, Father agrees. "You're right, my son. We couldn't weather the storm that came upon us. Who could even hope for a hereditary title after that? I can only imagine how your grandfather must be raging in the hereafter." The Brante patriarch uneasily considers what comes next. "But our family is still together, still whole. It pains me to think that there were so many losses that could have been prevented, I must confess. At one point I even feared there might be nothing of us left, but we are still family. Very well. We will abandon the pursuit of the nobility of the sword for our descendants and tend to the Brante family itself." Nathan peeks into the sitting room. His hair is tousled. "Father, Bronto, what happened?" "Nothing, Nathan. Life goes on, that's all." Your weary father embraces his 2 sons. The last of the embers that were once the letter from Gaius Tempest smolder away in the fireplace. It was almost too much to bear, but your family ties have been preserved. The Brante family will live on. What about Stefan? Won't he be furious? Or we are just going to ignore him? The heretic. Because the Inquisition power is less than 10 and Padel Ulrich didn't die by my hand. Huh. Interesting. You have not seen Jean for days. Neither of you have had the courage to speak to the other since the tribunal. She has often been absent from the Inquisition ward lately, which is alarming given that mere days remain before the sacred conclave. You go to a small chapel early in the morning. Inquisitor Ulrich is waiting for you there to discuss the upcoming trial of Patriarch Cassius. You barely have time to greet each other before you hear the heavy footsteps of armed men outside. The doors fling open and Jean enters the chapel accompanied by champions of faith. He is holding a scroll bearing the seal of the Grand Inquisitor. Inquisitor Ulrich, In the name of the twin gods, you are hereby accused of aiding and abetting the Vilist heresy. Like all Vilists, you have corrupted our faith and attempted to liken yourself to the gods. You are to appear before the sacred tribunal at once. Follow me. You step back from the Inquisitor. Ulrich raises an eyebrow in disdain. How dare you command me? I abide by the will of the twins and none other. Yield, Ulrich. The champions of fate draw their weapons and take a step forward. Ulrich's voice fills the chapel. He does not yell, but the sound knocks everyone off balance. I am will. I am power. I know no obstacles, no restraints. Back away. His voice vibrates through your body. You are paralyzed with pain. Your bones crack. Your muscles convulse. A red haze blurs your vision. Jean and the champions of fate fall to the floor. I am leaving Anisote. Do not try to find me. Ulrich's words echo endlessly in your head. In your last moments of consciousness, you see him dash out of the chapel. After a while, you come to your senses. The champions of fate gingerly help each other up, still dazed. Jeanne approaches you and offers you her hand. I'm sorry for keeping this a secret from you. I suspected from the beginning that something was wrong with Ulrich, but I only recently found out about the teachings of the Villists, and then it all made sense. I spent the last few days gathering evidence. The Villists' heresy is among the most heinous teachings I have ever heard of. Once a person decides to submit exclusively to the will, forsaking love and law, he becomes a monster drunk on power. Few things are more dangerous than this. Captain Agronim, tell your men to stand down. There is no point in searching for Ulrich. He has already left Anisote. We should focus on the Patriarch. What the hell? Ulrich left Magra and was forced to hide from the Inquisition. So he's indeed the Emperor. From Star Wars, I mean. It's Palpatine. The final step. 8 years have passed since your return to Anisote. For 8 years you have served as an Inquisitor. For 8 years you have struggled, facing trial after trial. The young seminary student is no more. Only the you of today remains. All your actions, all your decisions have led you to this moment. There is no more time for investigations and interrogations. You have done all you could. Today, on the eve of the sacred conclave, will you be able to stop Cassius on his way to the Patriarchate, or will you have to step aside and bear witness to his victory? Well, we failed. All we can do is wait for the conclave. Unable to stop Cassius, you wait for the sacred conclave. Well, we shall see. Let's just wait what happens. You are painfully aware of your failure. You did your utmost, but your efforts proved insufficient. Tomorrow, Cassius will enter the temple by the silver tree once more. Once more the clergy will grovel before him, once more the twins will gaze upon him, and the heretic will speak to them on behalf of his flock. Nothing will stop him. Wrath of the gods, that's foreshadowing. Is this the moment where we suffer through death because we couldn't reach any of our destiny? Accompanied by Jean, you approach the Temple of the Silver Tree. The square is full of people. You hear cheers, the din of the crowd, and applause. Today is the day of the sacred conclave. The nobility, clergy, and common folk tirelessly support the current patriarch with cheers and ovations. You and Jean have to force your way through the crowd to reach the temple gates. It seems nothing has changed, Brante. Everything is just as it was 8 years ago. Her words sound bitter. You have no reply for her. Before entering the temple, you touch the trunk of the tree. As usual, it is shockingly cold. There are over 100 people in the temple. All the clergy of Magra is gathered here, from the abbots of Magra's main temples to traveling preachers. Most of them wear the black robes of the old faith. In the far corner of the temple you can see several priests of the new faith, but they are few and keep to the side. You and Jean take your places in the first row. People glance at you with distrust and contempt. When Cassius enters the temple, the gates are locked. Everyone falls silent, looking at him who can hardly recognize the man who became patriarch 8 years ago. His forced humility has given way to self-assurance. His voice has become sterner and more severe. The people stand to greet the patriarch. The white-clad priests of the new faith rise last. The patriarch greets the audience with a dignified bow, and everyone takes their seats. Cassius slowly ascends the stairs to the altar of the twins and kneels before their images. The words of his prayer echo throughout the temple. O heavenly lords, givers of life, the younger defender of the world, the judge and counselor, the elder, the spirit of truth and love, filling all with your presence. We humbly abide by your law and by the 3 lots of Isatius. May the righteous attain eternal bliss, and may the sinners suffer retribution without mercy. Before your gaze, I hereby relinquish my authority as patriarch. Allow your children to elect another to take my place. The air feels heavy, as though it is pressing down on you. The people remain motionless, holding their breath. An incredible, all-consuming silence falls over the room. In this silence, you can hear the faint patter of footsteps across the temple. The moment slowly passes. The illusion fades. The air becomes light again. A staff taps against the tiles. Abbot Leonard approaches Cassius. You see despair in his eyes. We have seen their sign. The twins are with us now. I, Father Leonard, Abbot of the Temple by the Silver Tree, declare the sacred conclave open. Father Cassius, would you please join the rest? The cup is full of white stones. An apostate will become Patriarch of Magra. You feel so powerless it makes you slightly ill. Then let the will of the sacred conclave be done beneath the watchful eye of the twins. Father Cassius shall be our patriarch. He shall be our voice before the twins and our mentor in this worldly realm. Before the image of the gods, I hereby accept the burden of the Patriarchate of Magra. Cassius turns to face the images of the gods. Some priests rise from their seats and form a dense wall around him. This is not part of the ceremony. What are they doing? You hear the dreadful voice of Cassius above the confused murmur. So, hear my voice, O gods, and in my voice hear those who follow me. I, the Patriarch of Magra, speak on behalf of my congregation. From here to eternity, we reject your absolute will, your cruel love, and your merciless law. You have no more power over us. Your chains and your lashes are no more. You will quit this world at once. The agitated murmur turns to angry shouts, but the priests, loyal to the Patriarch, repeat his words as though they were a well-known prayer, their chorus drowning all the other sounds. Listen, proud gods, repeat after me, people. Your power is no more. Stop, you fool! Be silent. Repent your blasphemy. You will bring their wrath down upon you. You must stop this sacrilege before it is too late. With Jean by your side, you try to make your way to the Patriarch, but suddenly the ground shudders beneath your feet. Unable to keep your balance, you fall to the floor. The walls of the temple are shaking. The lustrous decorations and heavy holy vessels come crashing down upon the priests' heads. You hear screams as the ground continues to rumble. The air is thick again. You cannot breathe. The earth shakes once more. The flames of the candles rise to the ceiling, then fall in a fiery rain that washes over the mutinous priests. Cassius is blazing like a torch. The glare is blinding. Fiery flashes fall upon the Patriarch one after another. His frenzied cries now screams of agony. The wrath of the gods knows no mercy. The burning figures tear around the temple in an attempt to save themselves, but there is no salvation for them. Retribution is inevitable. Such is the law of the younger. Tears stream down Jean's face. She is kneeling in the middle of the crumbling temple, offering prayers to the twins. You close your eyes and bow before their will. Your earthly life is over. You leave the world forever and face the judgment of the twins.
Neither side could overcome the other. The fire of the revolt could not be extinguished. The province, and then the whole empire, fell on troubled times.
That's cool. Outcome of the revolt. For years after your death, Anisote continued to simmer like a pot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, gradually gave way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. The rebels took up arms and seized the city for themselves, led from the shadows by the last throw. When the moment of truth came, there was no soul in Anisote strong-willed enough to spearhead the raging revolt. The opposing factions soon reached a stalemate in which neither side could prevail completely. Anisote refused to surrender, but after a prolonged siege, Gaius Tempest finally broke the city's defenses and the legion entered the rebellious city of Anisote. The insurgents fled. The mobs disappeared from the squares and the streets. The leaders of the revolt were hanged. But the city's capture made even more trouble for the overseer. The unrest was beaten down, but not suppressed completely. New riots followed one by one, as the common folk, the new faith, priests, and many nobles of the mantle continued to wage a desperate struggle against the old authorities. Gaius Tempest responded to the sleeting rebellion with more executions and threats, but dissent continued to grow. As the unrest in the city smoldered, the rest of the empire eventually caught wind of the Anisote revolt. Nearby migrant towns and villages saw their first riots soon after. Chaos began to spread across the empire. The empire responded to this enduring turmoil with ruthless action, but even after several villages and towns were drowned in blood, the riots only intensified. The dominance of the emperor and his dynasty began to wane. Power struggles broke out between the powerful nobles in the capital. Then a shocking event shook the empire to its core. Emperor Uther II was found dead in his palace, never to be reborn. His heirs, Gerayan and Flavius, both disappeared without a trace. With no one to take the throne, the noble dynasties accused one another of plotting against the Tempest's rule. Feuds and internecine strife became commonplace. And so began an age of anarchy, a time of massacre and riots, conflict and bloodshed, chaos and unrest. There were no winners in this war of all against all, only survivors. The empire entered a dark and terrible age. What became of you? You have made your last and most important choice. Was your death worth it? Could you have chosen a different path? Either way, there is no going back. Your fate is sealed. There is no returning from the hereafter. And so you bid farewell to your mortal life. Everything you fought for, everything you strove for, all that is behind you now. You are on your way to the Shining Pillar to await the judgment of the twins. You can no longer change the world's destiny, but the choices you made and deeds you did have left an indelible mark. The world will remember the life and suffering of Brante. The hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the Shining Pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here, you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the Shining Pillar. But first, you must be judged by them. Just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial, only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived? You regret how you squandered the twins' given gift of mortal life. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fill the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The elder twin asks once more, what was your life to you? Your life was dedicated to other people and your relationships with them. You changed them and they changed you. Yeah, I think empathy is the right feeling here. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? More than anything else, you wanted to find happiness and joy for yourself, your family, and those around you. Is this true? In a way, it is. You yearn to do a great deed that would outlive you. Well, in theory, yes. Fate. You strove to gain a better understanding of the twins and find your own path to them. Yes, as well. Like, all of these matter. But I think overall, and I think I said this in one of the other episodes, it was happiness. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure contains its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? You blaze a trail for change that will long outlive you. Yeah, I think I kind of did. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? Riots, secret societies, killings, but after every dark time, there must be, like, you know, light should come, because it's a cycle. Cycles can't really be broken, right? Or that's how we think as humans. So I cannot know. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question. The very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? Your life has always been yours to live. You made your own destiny. Your path was charted for you by the people, the age, and the society in which you lived. Your destiny was forged by a power greater than your own will. Destiny does not exist. Human life is an exercise in chance. It is not governed by any laws. I think it was kind of mine. But if I think about it, there were a lot of times, just as many where we could make choices that we couldn't really affect them because of the previous choices that we made. But does that necessarily mean that it was someone like a higher power's fault, or it was ours because we made mistakes in the past, but how could we see the outcome? Get me? So, because I'm a priest, and these are gods, I will say a higher power. The twin gods exchange a glance that lasts a brief moment and all eternity. Then the hand of the elder twin reaches out to you, glowing with light and warmth. The gods offer you an unprecedented opportunity to change your destiny, to rewrite the book of your life. Would you like to take a different path in life? Yes? Oh, can I go? Oh, never mind. You reach out to the massive hand of the elder. It lifts you up and you are enveloped in warmth and love. You want to stay like this forever. But you must return to the life you knew. The elder twin's hand releases you. You fly down to the mortal world once more. To restart from the beginning of the chapter, click on chapter icon. Okay, so this is our only choice. I mean, we have to find out, yes? Otherwise the playthrough is over, and I'm not satisfied with how it went. Okay, so from here on out, I try and skip all the dialogue that we have read up until a certain point where it went wrong. This will be really difficult, but I think we can manage. Yep. I mean, it's difficult doing it live. Maybe it would be easier if I rewatch my own episodes and then sort of edit this whole thing together. Okay, so I will probably speed up all that, and this is our first choice that we will refuse. This is about Stefan's Gambit, the wedding offer that about Gloria and Al Pelletier, so we refuse him. Your words slide through the silence of the sleeping house. You disagree with Stefan and will not participate in his plots against your sister. Stefan does not say anything, but his grip on the glass tightens. Finally, you hear the sound of breaking glass, and glimmering shards fall to the floor. Stefan pensively contemplates the blood running down his palm. Pity, what a pity our grandfather, Sir Gregor, is no longer with us. He would make both you and Gloria see reason. Neither of you is capable of grasping what family and blood mean, so I suppose I must bear this burden alone. Stefan leaves the room. You are left alone in front of the dying fire. After your conversation last night, Stefan mostly stays silent and treats Gloria with pointed courtesy. The family breathes a collective sigh of relief. Could the feud between Stefan and Gloria finally be over? You are the only one who is aware of the scheme your brother is concocting. Alright, what's next? The illegitimate girl. I think this is also new because of the latest action we just chosen. So, your home is quiet tonight. Father is away arbitrating disputes in migrant villages. Stefan is visiting one of his high-placed patrons. After a dinner spent in silence, everyone retreats to their chambers. You are about to retire for the night when Gloria calls out to you. Bronto, wait a minute, I have an important favor to ask you. Your sister leads you to her long-time refuge, the library. Here, in the shadows between the bookcases, you will not be overheard. Brother, I wish to speak with you before Stefan returns. His scheming is becoming unbearable. It's beyond Sir Robert's power to stop him, let alone Mother or Nathan. You're my only hope. You shrug. All families argue from time to time, but every quarrel has to end sooner or later. Yes, it will end when Stefan finally gets rid of me. As far as he's concerned, I'm just a stumbling block and a stain on his father's good name. He lets me stay in the house only to avoid causing a scandal in high society, but as soon as the Brantes get his precious nobility of the sword, I'll be out on the street in the blink of an eye. Bronto, you don't want for me to get kicked out of the family, do you? Please help me. I need to convince Sir Robert to adopt me and make me legitimate. After that, it won't be so easy for Stefan to dispose of me, and then I won't bear the stigma of being a bastard anymore. I know Sir Robert would agree, if only by virtue of the love he has for our mother, but Stefan is standing in his way. Tell me, will you help me? An illegitimate child who has never known her father, a stranger in the family. Gloria looks at you with hopeful, pleading eyes. This could be another wrong choice, but I'm going to try and help her. You give Gloria a firm embrace. Ever since you were children, she has always been by your side. The two of you may have different fathers, but she is your sister, and she must remain a member of this family. It is your duty to come to her aid. You will make sure Gloria becomes a Brante. Gloria lets out a sigh of relief and hugs you back. It makes me so happy to know you're on my side. You wait for Stefan to come home. Your brother returns from his visit, mirthful and in high spirits. This is the perfect moment to have a talk. That went splendidly, brother. Magistrate Al Verman himself will support us. I'm on a friendly footing with his son now. It won't be long before we become nobles of the sword. But why are you still up? You raised the matter of your sister. The feud between Stefan and Gloria must end. Your brother seems to be unaware of how much damage it is inflicting on the family. But you know how to remedy it. The reason for everything is Gloria's lowly station. She should bear the Brante name. Your brother assumes a bored mine. Don't waste your time, brother. I know what Gloria is after. You mentioned damage to the family. Can you even fathom what this would mean for the Brante name? By allowing an illegitimate child into this family, our father would cover us all with an indelible shame. Several generations of Brantes to come would not even dare to dream of becoming nobles of the sword. By the twin gods, I will not let that happen. You attempt to point out to Stefan that Gloria's desperate situation is leading her to more and more audacious escapades. If your sister becomes a member of this family, she'll stop. Believe me, Bronto, I want to see Gloria at peace as much as you do, but not at the cost of our entire family's future. Absolutely not. I have a different idea for Gloria, and I am sure this solution will satisfy everyone involved. Good night. You let your sister know of Stefan's vehement denial. Gloria is so vexed, she's shaking. So, he wouldn't even hear us out, is that it? He's willing to do anything just to drive me out, isn't he? Bronto, we need to think of something. Gloria will continue her battle for the right to stay with the family, and you have promised to help her. Well, now we have a secret plot with her, so this might also cause failure once more. Okay, so this will be a nightmare to edit, but here's the thing. I failed the tolerance of faith check 2 times now, which will lead us to game over basically. What I did, I turned on consequences, so now we can see what will lead to what. And because over here at the evening prayer. This is when Anne Stein or whoever barges in the temple. They try and attack me, I think, and then I can choose to arrest them or walk away silently. I will walk away silently because the arrest them will just reduce the tolerance of fates, which I think would be fine because it's at 7, but once we arrest Father Mark, it would go even lower than that, so we have to have it really high. So because of that, we will walk away silently. You have no intention of dignifying her demand. With a response saying nothing, you walk toward the exit, trying to ignore the intruders. Hey murderer, are you deaf? You'd better answer or you regret it. Still silent, you walk between the men blocking the doorway and go outside. They follow you with threats and insults, but you have withstood this ordeal. You take a deep breath and head home. After taking off your cassock and saying your evening prayers, you are about to turn in when you hear glass shattering downstairs. Trying not to wake your family, you walk down to the first floor. You smell something burning. The sitting room is blanketed in smoke, fire slowly creeping up the curtains and across the carpet. You do not sleep that night. Your family and the servants pour water onto what was once your sitting room. Someone has scrawled the word murderer on the front door of your house. Father pulls you aside. Brante, I do not know what is going on in your order, but this is unacceptable. You have brought trouble to our home. The home I am sworn to protect. Promise me this will never happen again. You promise, Father, that you will not endanger your family again, but you are not even remotely convinced that you will be able to keep your promise. Well, our wealth is in ruins, so is our reputation, but at least we are not dead. And now we have a new trouble on our hands, ruin and debt. Your most recent expense cost the family the last of its money. You are on the verge of ruin. This will be a difficult year. The impending bankruptcy has driven your father to desperation. Why, Brante? Why did I even consider entrusting the family finances to you? All you've done is bankrupt yourself, and you've dragged us all down with you. Did you really have to spend so much? My son, don't you understand? We can't afford to tighten our belts. Our status demands that we look the part. We have to attend balls, host parties. You grimly promised to rescue the family finances. After all, this was your doing. You have no choice but to turn to moneylenders from the Silver District. They eagerly offer a large loan to the noble Brante family. Before long, the family is swimming in debt. Your desk disappears beneath piles of receipts and promissory notes. The family manages to maintain a semblance of prosperity, but every day it becomes harder and harder. The city soon learns of your troubles. You will emerge from this disaster one day. You will put your finances in order. But the Brante family has already been branded by its brush with ruin. Oh, come on, even more, the family in ruins. Okay, so maybe that was not the right choice after all. Alright, and now you are going to go back to my past self. See ya. Okay, so I think this is something new. The lesser evil. A year has passed since the day Gloria asked for your protection. You have brought up her lowly position several times in conversations with Father, but every time his face darkens and he asks you to stop. You can feel Stefan's influence behind these refusals. Your only option is to wait for something to change. Meanwhile, emotions are running high in the family. Gloria disappears for days at a time. She is often seen in the company of young citizens of low estate. Father constantly lectures Gloria, telling her that her friends are libertines and troublemakers, and connections like these will be her downfall. Your sister obediently lends an ear to his speeches, then vanishes again. You are relaxing in a bath after a long day when you suddenly hear rapid footsteps in the hallway and Stefan's angry voice. The door to the bathroom bursts open. Brante, get dressed, we're waiting for you in the sitting room, it's urgent. Perplexed, you get out of the tub and make yourself presentable. Father and Stefan are waiting for you in the sitting room. Gloria is huddled in a chair in the corner. Your elder brother swiftly locks the door behind you. This bodes ill. So, I was on my way to a ball at the Alabarius mansion. I was already on their doorstep when a servant told me that he had been ordered to turn me away. They will not have anything to do with a family whose offspring is a member of a secret society. Father Bronto, whom do you suppose they meant? Gloria looks at Stefan defiantly, her lips pursed tightly. This is the last straw. You will make pariahs of us all, Gloria. I will not allow you to ruin everything Sir Gregor worked for. Stefan is nearly screaming, but then he pulls himself together and continues in a more composed manner. I'm afraid Lady Gloria cannot remain in this house, but being honorable people, we must provide for her future. Sir Jose Alpeletier is willing to take her as his lawful wife. Gloria, you will be accepted into a household of nobles of the sword. I have been negotiating with your suitor for quite some time. Who gave you the right to decide my fate behind my back? You aren't even the head of this family. Gloria, you must abide by the decisions of your elders. This family has done so much for you already. Now I'm even going to provide you with a good match. But you're acting like a spoiled child. You will be a nobleman's wife, you fool. You'll be able to write your poems. You'll want for nothing. You'll be able to enjoy your life. Sir Alpeletier has been hounding me for a year now. I can't believe he's in love with me. A lowly common girl. Sure, he's easy on the eyes, he's a skilled warrior and a respected nobleman, but he needs a wife to give birth to his heirs, follow him around obediently at social gatherings, and praise his chivalry. Can't you see that I don't belong in his family? Stuff and nonsense. Father, here is a letter to the Alpeletiers. Sign it as the head of the family. We should invite our future relatives to our house and introduce ourselves to Gloria's future husband and his parents. I hope that Bronto will do his part as well. Father reluctantly skims the letter and frowns. Stefan, why have you never spoken to me about a matter of such importance? No match can be made without my consent. Have I announced my wish for Gloria to be married? Father, she leaves us no choice. You know that we cannot make Gloria Brante, but her family reputation still suffers because of her rebellious ways. Don't you see that this marriage will benefit anyone? Everyone? Gloria springs to her feet, choking with rage. You'd do anything to prevent me from joining this family. This marriage will bring nothing but sorrow to me and Sir Alpeletier. All you ever think about is your own interests. Ingrate. I'm looking out for you, and this is how you repay me? Or would you prefer to be cast out for your disgraceful antics? Father, please sign the letter and free us from this debacle once and for all. Gloria rushes towards you in desperation and claps your hand. Brother, please, you promised you never let them kick me out. Okay, another high pressure choice. Push pressure on Father. You force Father to adopt Gloria and keep her in the family. Threaten Stefan, you have known for a long time. Oh, here we go. About your brother's secret love affair. You threaten to expose it unless Stefan relents. I will do this. You approach Stefan with a sly grin. It's time to share some old secrets. Long ago you saw Stefan at the estate of Duke Al Velasco and learned about your brother's forbidden tryst. He has been in love with the Duke's daughter Maria ever since he was a youth, but the old Duke would never have given his daughter to the son of a humble judge, would he? Stefan's face is distorted by pain and rage. You have struck a nerve. You keep the onslaught. Stefan and the Duke's daughter have been lovers ever since, in spite of her marriage of many years. It seems your brother wasn't strong enough to end this forbidden affair. Is this how he strives to improve the family's reputation? You conniving little sneak! You've been shadowing me ever since you were a boy. So you finally decided to play your hand, have you? You reply calmly to his outburst. Either Stefan stands down or high society will learn of his affair with the Duke's daughter. He cannot dictate Gloria's fate as though she were his property, and Gloria must become a Brante and a full member of the family. This is the only way to make sure this never happens again. Bronto, you backstabbing wretch. You know I'll do whatever it takes to save my beloved's reputation. You shrug. If Stefan truly treasured Maria's reputation so much, he would have ended their affair long ago. Stefan lets out a bitter sigh. I never knew what a pitiless scoundrel you are. Fine, you win. But if you so much as mention Maria again, I'll kill you on the spot. And from this day forth, you are no brother of mine. The door slams loudly. Stefan rushes down the steps, saddles his horse, and he is gone. Father and Gloria are still in shock. Brante, what have you done? Stefan will never forgive you for this, and he might never come home again. You offer Father an explanation. Stefan was trying to seize control of this family. He wanted to decide its fate as he saw fit. He thought himself a second Gregor Brante, but the Brantes have had their fill of tyrants. You take the letter of marriage and tear it to shreds. Gloria lets out a quiet shriek. You continue with the same passion. Father made his choice long ago. It was grandfather who tried to oust Mother and Gloria from this home for the crime of their low birth. Father has the right to choose his own family. Father sighs deeply, pulling himself together. You're right, Brante. I have to admit it. My fear of your grandfather was too strong. But those days are over. Gloria is Lydia's daughter, the daughter of my wife, and she's my daughter as well. Gloria is shaking now. She cannot believe her ears. Dishonor does not frighten me. Gossip does not frighten me. Come to me, my daughter, Gloria Brante. Gloria falls on her adoptive father's shoulder, racked by silent tears. Father. You join their embrace. Gloria squeezes your hand with hers, your sister's eyes glimmering with joy and gratitude. The family is uneasy after Stefan's disappearance. Furious at your extortion, your elder brother does not return home for a long time. This might still mean that our mom will die and Stefan will do something crazy later on, but I do think we are back on the right path, because what really matters is the tolerance of fates. Alright, so turns out Mother still dies. This is right after Mother's death. Now this is the consequence of Stefan being in bad bloods with me. So that's where we are, a broken branch. The sitting room is brightly illuminated by dozens of candles. Today the tapestry bearing the Brante family crest, an oak branch wrapped in chains, hangs above the fireplace. The petitions have been granted and the paperwork is ready. Today Gloria will join the Brante family and become your father's lawful daughter. The entire family has gathered together, except for Stefan. Ever since you and Gloria got your way, your elder brother has spent less and less time at home, preferring to take prolonged trips or visit his noble friends. Gloria is standing by the fireplace, clothed in a modest black dress, quite unlike her usual trousers and men's jacket. Even her hair is braided today. For the sake of this momentous occasion, she is behaving as reservedly as she can, though she often glances at you with gratitude. Father steps forward solemnly and makes a speech as the family watches in profound silence. Come closer, Gloria, and become a branch of the Brante family tree. Gloria kneels humbly before the man she has called Sir Robert all her life. He holds his hand in front of her face as the ceremony demands. From this day forth, you shall be a full member of this family, your fate now bound with ours. Wear your name with honor, and may the Brante family prosper with you. Gloria leaves a filial kiss on the fingers of his outstretched hand. Now rise, Gloria Brante. Slowly, gracefully, confidently, Gloria rises to her feet. For the first time since childhood, she looks and seems like your older sister. With a smile, Father at last embraces his adopted daughter as a parent. Gloria warmly responds to his embrace, then hurries to you. Brante, we're legally brother and sister now. I owe it all to you. I swear I never forget what you've done for me. I promise I'll be more careful from now on. I only do what's best for the family whose name I bear. You answer her without hesitation. Gloria has always been your family. All you did was make it official. Your sister squeezes your hand in excitement. This is her day, the day she has been waiting for all her life. Loud, thudding steps echo in the foyer. The doors swing open. Stefan stands on the doorstep. Your elder brother, now haggard-looking and covered in the dust of the road, casts a tired gaze over the faces of the family gathered around the fireplace. So, it seems I've arrived at the right moment of triumph. Will you look at that? Already celebrating the day the Brante family lost its honor, are you? Gloria stands between you and him. brave and confident, hands on her hips. She has no reason to be afraid of Stefan's fury now. We are celebrating the fact that no member of this family can now toss another member out on the street. Stefan allows himself a bitter chuckle. Gloria, how typical of you. You've cut off your nose to spite your face. And my brother Brante is just the same. You've all robbed our bloodline of our noble future. You've ruined everything Sir Gregor Brante paid for in sweat and blood. If it weren't for him, we would have nothing. Stefan's face grows crimson as he says these words. It takes him a moment, albeit a brief one, to compose himself and continue. But what's done is done. Our honor is already lost. From now on, I will have no further connection to your family. I am leaving for the capital. Nothing will ever make me visit this home again. I suppose it's time for my farewells then. Stefan, wait. Don't be ridiculous. You're still my eldest son and heir. And what, pray tell, am I to inherit, father? You robbed us all of our hereditary title right when it was within our grasp. But I don't blame you. You're just a victim of my brother's schemes. Or do you disagree, Brante? Stefan delivers this furious tirade from the doorway, one step away from leaving. What will you tell Stefan before he departs forever? Why cannot we do this? Oh, because unity and relations. And I will become heir though. So this is the new stuff on the right side if you show the consequences. We must sever all ties. Coldly, you snap back at Stefan that if a title was all your brother ever wanted from this family, then he doesn't deserve to bear the family name. All Stefan has brought to the Brante family is strife, animosity, and scorn. For the sake of his ambition, he was ready and willing to sacrifice anything, anyone, all under the pretense of protecting his family. Good riddance. There is no place for him here. Stefan meets your lengthy speech with a surprising calm. When you are done, a bitter grin appears on his face once again. You will never understand what it means to be a nobleman, Brante. But you are right about one thing. This is no longer my concern. It's high time I did something for myself. I'm still the son of Amelia Alborn. Should I ask my uncle Sir Alborn to grant me his family name? He will not refuse me. I shall forge a new fate for myself. One without any of you in it. Stefan studies each of you, as though trying his best to remember this moment forever. His face reflects a fleeting moment of regret, but it is quickly replaced by decisiveness. I cannot reject this blood tide. It flows in my veins now, but I can reject all of you. Sir Robert Brante, you are no longer my father of my patriarch. Brante, Nathan, you are my brothers no more. And I will make sure everyone knows it. Stefan removes a ring bearing the family seal from his finger and hurls it into the roaring fireplace. Then he glances at each of you one last time before turning away and walking briskly outside. A moment later you hear hooves clattering against cobblestones, growing quieter as they recede into the distance. And then, a long silence marred only by the crackling of the fireplace. Father collapses into a chair, overcome with grief. My eldest son has rejected our family. Ye gods, what did I do to anger you so? Gloria steps carefully toward her foster father. Her hand comes to rest on his shoulder. He puts it to his face as the tears begin to flow. I hope Stefan would come to accept our decision, but the hereditary title means more to him than our family's happiness. We won't make the same mistake he did. We will weather the scorn of the noble families with dignity. We will remain united in this home, no matter what. Yes, father, that we will. Your family does their best to console each other, but the celebration is ruined. Eventually you go to your room to sleep, but a flood of memories keeps slumber at bay. You remember Stefan leading you by the hand through the yard. You remember sitting at the big table on the porch, poking each other in the arm. You remember marching through the streets of Anisote at night looking for Gloria. And now Stefan has left his family home and Anisote, never to return. This is the last you will ever hear of the man who used to be your elder brother. Robert adopts Gloria, and she becomes a full-fledged Brante. Stefan exiled. Stefan had left the house of Brante and went to seek his fortune in the capital. Alright, and future me will take care of the following events. Alright, it's future me. Well, past me, doesn't matter. Now we are at the point where we can overthrow Cassius. Something, however, I don't know if I missed this in this timeline, but I don't remember anything about Father Mark. Actually, let me just quickly check if there was an event or not, because I did this, well, Father Mark is captured. Okay, so I did that. And after that, Mother died, so Gloria is Brante, Stefan exiled, Thomas same, we did his wedding, Ulrich went full Palpatine on us, we have the evidence against Cassius, the difference is the family is in ruins, and I think that's about it. And of course, Gloria is, as I said, a Brante. So, hopefully, this means we can proceed. And for now, I will actually leave the consequences on. So we are going to overthrow Cassius. The final step. The new faith has become strong in recent years and is now edging out the teachings of Icetius. Your name, now symbol of the changes to come, is on the tip of every migrant's tongue. The Patriarch ought to be elected by his congregation. It is time to give the people this right. You leave the Inquisition ward at dawn. Father Leonard meets you by the door of the temple. Cassius's guilt is undeniable. You have found witnesses to all of his crimes. By exposing him, Leonard will be able to unify his congregation and take the sacred title of Patriarch from this heretic. Cassius will deliver a sermon in the square by the silver tree at sunset, as is customary. Let us gather our flock and hasten there, Inquisitor Brante. The abbot's appeal gathers half the city. Like the tributaries of a turbulent river, the adepts of the new faith flow through the narrow streets to join the torrent that is the huge procession. These people, led by their abbot, are here for a common purpose, to depose Cassius. You are part of the power they represent. It is a dizzying realization. The square is full of old believers. It is so densely packed there is no more room for those who wish to attend. Standing on the stairs of the temple, Cassius towers above the crowd, his trusted clergymen to either side of him. Brothers and sisters, for 8 years I have borne the burden of the Patriarchate of Magra, and every day of those 8 years I have prayed diligently to the gods, begging them their mercy. But I see now that no mercy awaits us, only the wrath of the gods, for the teachings of what is like venomous seeds cultivated by errant priests have sprouted among commoners and nobles, and now they are poisoning the entire empire with their bitter venom. Cursed be they who are called upon to defend the true faith, but have instead nurtured heresy in their hearts. Come, Brother Brante, the time has come to expose this heretic. The congregation stands aside, clearing a path straight to Cassius for you and the abbot. You walk toward the Patriarch, disregarding the angry shouts. Your mission is too urgent. Leonard walks up the white stairs. Holding your medallion high in your raised hand, you stand beside Cassius. In the name of the Inquisition, you command that his deceitful lips be sealed. The Patriarch falls silent, astonished by your sudden appearance. Every word you utter is a lie, Cassius. How dare you accuse others of heresy and speak of the gods when you yourself have strayed from the faith and befooled your soul with apostasy? The crowd gasps. The Patriarch's eyes narrow. Are you in a position to make accusations against me, you believer? Oh no, I'm not. But those who stand by your side, averting their gaze before the impeccable light of truth. They are. As are those you have poisoned with your maleficent heresy. Here they are. Here they all are, before us. He gestured to the priests by his side. They are speechless for a moment, then fall to their knees. Retribution is inevitable, such is the law. These priests have confessed their crimes to the Inquisition. Now it is time for them to confess before the people who put their trust in them. Let the people behold their fear and shame. You hear grumble, whistles, the crowd is buzzing. The people do not comprehend what is going on. They are frightened and agitated. The priests lower their eyes. Cassius casts a bitter glance over those who have betrayed him, then raises his hand with a sigh. Enough. I will not allow my followers to be humiliated. If you need the truth, I will relate it myself. Leonard taps his staff on the ground. The crowd falls quiet. The abbot's voice resounds over the square, piercing the tense silence. So, Brother Cassius, pray tell us, did you spread discord among the clergy of Magra? Did you lead them astray, encouraging them to reject the gods? Cassius replies, loudly and disdainfully, Yes, I did. I put the priests to the test with my words one after another. I mourned those who were still strong in their faith in the twin gods, for they will never know a better life. I welcomed and instructed those who could hear me. Believe me, brothers and sisters, there were many, and there will be many more. Angry shouts boom from the square. Heretic, we trusted you. Pray tell us, did you harbor sinful witches and give them shelter? Suddenly, the patriarch sounds sorrowful. His voice loses the ring it had just a moment ago, becoming quiet and hoarse. I did, and I'm not ashamed of it. The first lesson Father Mark taught me was that witches cannot live in the world created by the twins. There is no place for them, neither in this world nor in the hereafter. It was my duty to give them a chance to have a life, at least in this world. The angry roar of the crowd grows louder, the people's cries becoming more and more furious. Now you'll burn at the foot of the pillar along with them, witch lover. Was this lunatic really our pastor? Cassius casts a disdainful glance at the audience. In spite of everything, he remains dignified. Leonard continues. Do you admit to renouncing your faith and your service to the twins? But pray tell your flock, why did you lie to us, maintaining the image of a righteous old believer? The old faith, the new faith, they are both paths toward the cruel gods. Paths that lead nowhere. It's simple. Brothers and sisters, I did it to support the schism within the church. Day after day I pitted you against each other, and even though I stand before this tribunal today, you cannot deny that I have succeeded. A shadow of sadness passes over the abbot's face. But why, Cassius? Why did you choose the path of heresy? What made you hate the gods? The scales fell from my eyes, Leonard. I saw that, after we die, we will find ourselves in a prison of their absolute will. Only in this world do we have a chance to oppose them. But instead, we continue living in the same prison of our own volition. Father Mark, my mentor, discovered the truth, but he was too hesitant. We shouldn't just quietly slip away from their gaze. We must defy the gods, destroy their idols, burn the books that glorify them, obliterate their names from history, and build a new world. Striving to calm the raging crowd, Leonard is almost screaming. There is evidence that you were planning to profane the day of the sacred conclave. What were you going to do, Cassius? Oh, Leonard, you will never understand me. I was going to change the world. I was going to challenge them. The moment they appeared in the temple to greet the new patriarch, they would have heard me. I would have liberated Magra, and then, just as in the days of yore, the flame of rebellion against their world would have spread throughout the empire. The patriarch's words can no longer be heard over the roar of the crowd. Anger, incomprehension, and sorrow distort the people's faces. Many old believers are weeping. Their trust has been cruelly betrayed. You step forward. The Inquisition demands that Patriarch Cassius be burned at the stake until his true death. The Patriarch cackles, his hoarse laughter drowning out the shouts from the square. I regret only one thing, not being able to set this land free of the twins. I regret that the truth that was revealed to me remains beyond the comprehension of others. I regret that I will not see their temples torn down. I regret that I will not hear the twins defamed by every living person. You have said enough. Stop. You saw it all, you heard it all. There can be no better proof that the next patriarch must be chosen by the parish. The priests of the old faith have lost our trust. They elected a heretic to lead us. The people applaud, Leonard. You hear your name amid their shouts of approval. Under your command, Cassius and his entourage are marched out of the square. You need to get them to the Inquisition ward before the crowd tears them to pieces. When you leave the ward, you see Jeanne coming towards you. Her face is frozen in fury, her fists clenched. She's accompanied by champions of faith, led by Captain Agronim. Never stand in my way again, Brante. When I look at you, I see neither a brother nor an inquisitor. You have brought down one heretic only to elevate another. It is a betrayal of everything we have worked for, everything we were, everything we could have been. I have been indulgent with you all these years, but this is unforgivable. I will not allow Leonard to become patriarch. Go, and never return. Jeanne walks back into the ward. The soldiers, once loyal to you, follow her. Is this victory? Cassius may have been convicted of heresy, but his conviction will not heal the division between the new faith and the old that has been growing for the past 8 years. Will the church ever be whole again? We did it. I think. Get me to a safe point. Hell yeah! Oh, okay. Sorry. I want you guys to know that this took about like 3 hours. Partly because it takes quite a long time to click through all the options, all the pages. And then also I made a mistake. Peaceful years are over. The storm of the revolt is brewing in Arizona. Tomorrow will be the day when you will reap the harvest of all your deeds during those 8 years. I want to...
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate, as well as that of my family, and perhaps the entire empire. The day of the revolt.
The revolt begins. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Cassie's overthrown. There we go. Chapter 5. Okay, so that means we are safe. We can check out all the new resolutions to basically the end of the story in the next episode. And I will apologize. I know you have seen the edit by now, but sorry if it wasn't too consistent. I will try to make it as consistent as it can be. And hopefully confusion will be eliminated by the end of this episode. This is so meta, I'm so sorry. It's like talking about the past, but in the future that I haven't done yet. But for you guys, that's all the past. So judgment is up to you, I guess. Anyway, we did it. And we shall see how the game turns out. I wish we didn't die, but oh well. It is what it is, boys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.